Hey, everybody. Just a little bit of your time this afternoon. An interesting question has come up the last couple of days from a couple different teams. It's a really good question, and I'm glad that somebody asked it. If the question is, am I allowed to share my tracks or my navigation data for the tour? And for those of you who have read the route book carefully enough and read all of the sort of prefacing information about the Tour of Idaho on the website, the answer is probably obvious. And I think it was obvious to the people that asked the question too. And they were asking just for clarification. Thank you very much. Good for you. The answer to that, of course, is no. Now, there's not really a lot of ways that I can enforce that, but the whole concept of the Tour of Idaho is that a big part of it is that you do all the navigation yourself. That's why I don't upload complete tracks. We used to, but we stopped doing that several years ago because we decided to make the navigation part of the tour. So please don't share your data with anybody. And I would really appreciate it if you just didn't share it with anybody. In other words, sometimes people go, well, I'm not going to share it with anybody that's doing a T1, but I might share it with these T2 and T3 guys. Look, T2 and T3 guys, they don't need your data. They can take as much time as they need to get anywhere. Let them figure it out for themselves. And if you are going to do it, at least do it in a non-public way, because I don't want anybody's tracks out there. I would rather the only data that was out there be the data on the motorcyclejazz.com website, because that way it makes it fair for everyone. Look, at some point, the competitive nature comes out in all of us. All of you that are attempting the Tour of Idaho, you're doing a T1 because you would like to finish and you would like to get a jersey number. How fair is it if you are out there sweating through all this navigation, you've done all the work, you show up someplace, something's a little unclear, you do what you got to do to figure out how to get a one-way point to the next. Somebody else has got an entire set of tracks from another team that preceded you. They may not have even made it all the way, or they may have been a T2 or a T3 team, but they went in there, tracked the whole thing out, handed their data to this other team. They don't have to spend the time that you do trying to figure out what to do at this trail intersection. So I think my point is well taken there. By sharing tracks, you are allowing people to gain a competitive advantage that they might not have had. So it may not be your intent when you do this kind of thing, but that is often the outcome of things like this. I know there's tracks floating around. I know that every year there's one or two teams that share tracks, even though I ask everybody not to do it. Look, I don't ask anybody for anything for this tour. I don't need your money. All this stuff's free. We do all this work, clear trails, do everything. There's very few things that I ask, and this is one thing I'm going to ask you not to do. Please don't share your navigation data with anybody. Within the tour community, we can talk about it. And sometimes I use your data to help me with next year's tour. So it's not like you didn't do anything good accumulating that data. I'm going to use it myself. I look at places, for instance, where a lot of people had trouble when I put everybody's track in the same database. I overlay them all. And at the end of the year, I start looking where people had trouble, and that informs me about where to put waypoints the next year. So anyway, that's just a favor I'd like to ask for everybody. Again, there's no way I can enforce that. I can't look over anybody's shoulder, and if I could, I wouldn't do it. I'm just going to leave it out there as a request, ask you all to do it, and hope that everybody complies. All right, everybody. I think there's a team. I know there's a team doing a pre-run tomorrow. Their data's over there in the forum if you want to go look them up. And I will see you all Monday night with Jeff Jensen for PBR Monday. Ciao.